Uh-oh. We got one. We got the lighter here. Can't have a show without a lighter. How would I smoke marijuana in the background? Just kidding. I didn't really say that. I didn't really mean that. As you can hear, we're waiting on Revolution.Radio and their commercial skit there before we start with Mountain High Time. Oh, let's go look over at YouTube and see if we're even broadcasting today. What is it? It is. This is an informal show, so don't get your hopes up for some kind of professional production. Oh, yeah, there we are. Better mute it so we don't get that. Oh, wait, I got headphones. There we are. What's up, Simon Milner? Linda Hodnett? I hope I said that right. Roger Goodman, what it be, what it was like. If it was supposed to be like what it was supposed to be like in the first place, man. Do you know? I don't. I was just going off there. But anyway, welcome to Mountain High Time. And here we'll be joining Revolution.Radio in just a second. The reason that I don't come on every Saturday is sometimes I make pre-made shows for the radio. And if I don't feel like going live, I just play MP3s. So sometimes I'm playing some really interesting stuff that will get me banned on YouTube. So if you want to listen to that, if I ain't here on YouTube, then that means that I'm just not broadcasting, but I would still be live on Revolution.Radio. Studio B, 6 to 8, every Mountain High Time, if you know what I mean. So I found this thing, sativa energy, and I just don't know what it is. It's like space marijuana or something. Allegedly. No, it's just tobacco. I wouldn't do drugs live on television, would I? It's totally tobacco poofer thing. Something like that. It is. Hello from Fairbanks, Alaska. Wow, Frank Rizzo up there holding it down in the permafrost or frozen wasteland we call Alaska. No, I'm just joking. I have no idea. I've never been to Alaska. It looks pretty on TV though. And there goes my intro song. So we're about to add those revolution people in on the joke. Oh yeah. So I just started running 2 computers now. I was trying to do it off the phone, but the Wi-Fi was all screwy, so hopefully they'll get a better mic feed on the radio. Unfortunately, I can't watch nothing, so who knows what I'm going to talk about today. Who knows? Never know with stoners, do you? May the 4th be with you. I'm going to talk about that, actually. The 4th be with you. Don't drink a 4th. On the 4th, or is it a 5th on the 4th and you can't go 4th on the 5th? Something like that. Maybe that's July 4th. 4 is my check-in number. Hello, Ransom. Hello, Arnold Schmidt. Simon Miller. Now run by the C3 pedo. Ha! That's funny. I have something close to that to say. If I could just keep track of my lighters, everything will go as planned. And welcome to Mountain High Time on Revolution.Radio. And I hope you're enjoying your Saturday afternoon. Why do I got an echo there? That's weird. Is that coming from here? No. Sorry, I forgot about having that localized echo there with the microphones. Anyway, welcome to Mountain High Time on Revolution.Radio as we get into some of the weird and crazy articles this stoner has been paying attention to, at least for today. Now, I've been rambling on the Mini Ice Age Conversation channel for some time about AI, robotics, and how it can read your mind. Hold on, let me fix this again before we get whistling noise. Put that back over here. There we go. I guess my headphones were so loud it was creating a feedback loop. Greetings, Gary, Arnold, Simon, Roger, Frank, Alinda, all watching on Mountain High Time on YouTube. Let's jump into it because you know the... Sorry, I got freaked out by a mourning dove. What's he doing? It's the afternoon. Is he crazy? Anyway, let's get into the news here. I don't think I've even added a window so I could show the people viewing on Mountain High Time what we're going to be talking about. So let me get to that. How boring on the radio when somebody's just blabbing on, huh? Anyway, here we go. Victory. Biden shuts down controversial DHS experts panel in wake of lawsuit, they say. We're going to get into that. If I can fix the window. And here it is. I'm the whole crew, so sometimes I got to fix stuff here. There we go. I think that ought to do it. All right. Victory. Biden shuts down controversial DHS expert panel in wake of lawsuit. Let's see what they're talking about here. The Biden administration has agreed to shut down a nascent Department of Homeland Security Intelligence experts group in the wake of a lawsuit brought by America First Legal. That's AFL. America First Legal's lawsuit from November claimed that Homeland Intelligence Expert Group was partisan organization and not neutral, citing the fact that 98% of political contributions of those named to the group went to Democrats. The Biden administration agreed to wind down the group within 30 days and surrender it, documents at AFL contingent on the dismissal of the lawsuit. The expert groups shall be wound down within 30 days of the entry of the order. It will not hold any virtual future meetings, and the department will not reconstitute the experts group inconsistent with the FACA, or Homeland Security Act of 2002. The department will also provide expert group meeting agendas and meeting minutes with participant identified information redacted within 15 days of the entry of the order, it said. So, blah, blah, blah. They wouldn't do that, would they? I mean, would they just, have like one single party running just about everything? The answer is yes. But it's not the Democrat Party by themselves. Who's kidding ourselves? It's a uniparty. The Republicans and the Democrats are buddies. They're demo-rats or Republic. Oh, I can't say that word. I was about to say the C word, but I forgot we were on radio. You can't say that word. Anyway, let's move on to this one. I thought this was funny because this whole thing is like made for TV, in my opinion. The whole Trump prosecution, all of it, the whole thing since he got in office, I have a feeling is like a WWE production brought to you by Central Casting, so that the sheeple out there think they're watching a television, epic that's of real meaning, and they pick their side, Republic Rat or Demon-Rat or Demon-Crat or whatever they call themselves in the uniparty. The uniparty, because every time it comes down to it, something fundamental that will affect everyone in the United States of America seems to be voted unanimously, with only a couple of holdouts just so they could claim to be some small opposition. If they even hold those beliefs in reality, no one knows. I mean, no one knows. You got Rand Paul and, there's several others that usually fight things that are ridiculous. But who knows if they're not in on it and have just been designated the no people. So it looks like there's some semblance of democracy happening at the government level of our constitutional republic, which I might put to you is probably not happening. That's my opinion. So Jack Smith's team admits key evidence in Trump's document case has been tampered with. And see, every time I go down one of these things, I'm wondering, is this just part of today's TV special, or is this some real reality that's going on? Special counsel Jack Smith's team admitted that the key evidence in former President Donald Trump's classified document criminal case was tampered with since it was seized by the FBI. They even admitted that the prosecutors misled the court about the period of time, a revelation that could pose serious problems for Smith's case. Since the boxes were seized and stored, appropriate personnel have had access to the boxes for several reasons, including to comply with orders issued by the court in civil proceedings noted above, for investigative purposes, and to facilitate the defendant's review of boxes. Smith's team wrote that in a new court filing to U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon on Friday, there are some boxes where the order of items within that box is not the same as the associated scans the prosecutors wrote. In other words, they're fudging stuff, if you believe this isn't just some kind of made-for-television game. And if it's real, then, you got right in your face crooked prosecutors pushing these things, which is obviously politically motivated. Now, a lot of people think that Trump is outside the camp. I don't know that he is, but it seems in appearance that, I'd rather have another Trump presidency than a continued Biden presidency. But that's just my opinion because, I've been watching the whole racket of the neoconservative movement and the Marxist transition of that movement. I guess that was the plans that they've had for the U.S. and Western Europe. Insane storm chaser films tornado, saves family whose home was just obliterated. Wow, there's a lot of storms out there. I think one of these articles says was like 300. Storm chaser Freddie McKinney filmed in an amazing scene, and I'm going to play that for you guys on YouTube.
Just struck. Oh my gosh, there's three up here.
Crazy these storm chasers. How they literally chase storms down. That's.
I got to make sure it didn't hit a house.
Right. But anyway, this tornado is just ripping through near residential stuff, and I'm pretty sure half the debris here, let me make it full screen for you guys. Half the debris out there is people's houses and, all kinds of stuff like that. It's already floating in the wind, man. And this is exactly why I don't live in none of these areas. You're not going to catch me living in an area that has these monsters come out of the sky, which eliminates a big part of the U.S. for me. All these preppers and survivalists living out there, if they're not living in some kind of curved, domed, underground facility and spend their time there when a storm happens. And for you guys on the radio, a young woman is carrying a kid, and then you got another kid running. He's half bloody. And then what looks like probably the dad is hobbling down the street. And the storm chaser has pulled into their driveway where their home no longer exists. It's just rubble. It's gone. Now, you're not going to catch me dead, literally, living in one of these places. That is horrible. That's crazy. Right? Anyway, McKinney saw the tornado get close to some homes in Hawley, Texas, and then he drove forward for a closer look. It was at that moment he saw people walking around a dirt road, rolled down his window and yelled, get in the car, open the door, get in, come on, guys. A mother carried her young daughter, a young boy with a bloody face, and a father all ran towards the car. Help us, please, God, help, hurry. Come on, please get us. I need your phone. I need to call my mom. The mother frantically told the driver. Once inside the car, the family can be heard asking the driver to stop and pick up their family dog who was nearby and requesting to be taken to the nearest hospital to treat their injuries. The brave storm chaser quickly drove the injured family to the hospital where they were treated and currently recovering thanks to the grace of God. Photos of the family recovering from the incident and the footage of the destroyed house were uploaded online. And, not everybody gets lucky like they did. Thank God for that. Next, let's talk about some weird stuff because I forgot to organize my browser on this edition of Mountain High Time. So we're going to have a convoluted, reading of the news here. Anyway, in this News 9 out of Colorado, I'm assuming New mammal found in Colorado dates back to the period just after dinosaur extinction. The researchers named the mammal Militugodon lidae in honor of the two extraordinary contributors to the Coral Bluffs project. Let's scroll down and see what kind of noise they're talking about. Colorado Springs, Colorado. Researchers discovered fossils of a new species of mammal at a site on the edge of Colorado Springs. The Denver Museum of Natural and Science researchers announced the discovery of a 65-million-year-old mammal on Friday and said it was collected in the Coral Bluffs area of the edge of Colorado Springs. The new discovered species named, I'm not going to say that again, let's just call it Millie for short because I don't want to pronunciate their convoluted long name, plus I'm somewhat illiterate on how to pronounce some of these things, evidently, is part of a group of animals that gave rise to modern hoofed mammals, including deer, cows, pigs, according to the museum. Fossils in Colorado show the rate of climate change over Earth's history. Oh, did they tell? That would be it. We're going to have to get into that one later. That's funny. Anyway, the fossil skull and jaw of Millie were uncovered from the rocks dating back to just after the extinction of the dinosaurs, roughly the size of chinchilla. Millie provides important clues about the explosive diversification of mammals in the wake of the dinosaur extinction. Which this is curious because if indeed this mammal is the origin of hoofed animals, and if for you guys on Mountain High Time, what we're looking at is it kind of looks like a South American coati or coati, however you say that, the cousin of the North American raccoon. It's those cool things. If you haven't seen my trip to Mexico, go ahead and click on that Mountain High Time 420 TV road trip there, and I filmed a bunch of these critters. Really cool. But that's what the picture or the illustration of this supposed 65 million year old mammal looks like for those of you on the radio. How and when life rebounded after the extinction of the dinosaurs has been shrouded in mystery due to a poor fossil record. But thanks to an extraordinary discovery of remarkable complete fossils from Colorado, Coral Bluffs in Colorado, as well as recently awarded collaborative research grant from the National Science Foundation. Yeah, they got to pat themselves on the back and bend over and give themselves a wet one. Research in Earth Sciences. Museum scientists and collaborators are now able to paint a vivid picture of how and when life rebounded after the darkest hour. The study, published in April of 2024, was led by Dr. Lucas Weaver, Kent State University, and Jordan Crowell, however you want to pronounce his name, man. I ain't into the pronunciation game. Anyway, the Graduate Center City, University of New York. So this is very interesting because if indeed this turns out to be the animal that gave rise to the hoofed animals, we have to thank this mammal right here for most of the food that we eat and most of the food that the other super predators eat as well. Which is pretty trippy. And if you kind of are a nerd like I am and you follow along with this stuff, it's also known that primates supposedly evolved in North America of all places. That's right, primates that gave rise to apes and hominids that eventually gave rise to what we now call humans, the admixture species we call Homo sapiens sapien, which is an amalgamation of what seems to be 5 to maybe 10 different hominids. And there's really no proof connecting our evolution to that of apes other than we may have had a common ancestor, and as some researchers put out there, that maybe the apes actually came from the thing that we also came from, kind of more like the apes were risen, from the same lineage, so not the other way around. Which gives you this weird idea, which I was talking to with my son the other day, about, extraterrestrials, and, what would they think if they came down here, and would they be able to understand that these different hominids were intelligent? because, you got the whole ancient aliens crowd. But what if it was not an alien? And what we're talking about is really just a mystery that's connected to a missing hominid that's not in the fossil record. Or maybe it is, and we're not recognizing it. The argument goes back and forth commonly about elongated skulls. And while I admit that the vast majority of elongated skulls and the people that still to this day try to elongate their skull are due to head binding, obviously. We see that. I mean, we see the modern evidence of that. However, these people that live in Peru, the Paracas, the Wari, I think there was a couple of other ones, seem to have some oddities with their elongated skull, and we can't figure out how they created a larger cranial capacity in some of them, and why there's different indicators that may suggest it's a different hominid or an admixture of Cro-Magnon and another hominid. And when you think about all of the references of elongated heads throughout history, and sometimes associated with royalty or the leaders of groups, which is basically the same thing with the Paracas people. When the Nazca moved in, some kind of ethnic cleansing happened to the Paracas people. That was the elongated head people. So it may have been that these people that came with the different haptypes that possibly come out of Eurasia and wore these cool hats, they might have been on the run, hiding, because the rest of the admixture humanity no longer had heads like that. So they would have been oddities and maybe targeted for extinction. And that led them to hide, run, wear fancy hats, all kinds of stuff like that. Now, this is just a theory of mine. But when you get into those haptypes of those people that have red hair down in Peru, some of the haptypes are the same haptype I have. And that's funny because I've recently did DNA, and it places me firmly as an Atlantic Celtic, or Celtic, however you say that, which is a group of people that lived on the Atlantic shores of Ireland, Scotland, and England before the waves of migrations of people. So we're talking the original hunter-gatherers who later mixed with waves of R1b haptypes coming out of Eurasia also. So it's weird how I have a maternal haptype of U2E, which matches, all of these Cro-Magnon bodies and corded ware culture in Eurasia, and the genes went around the world and ended up in the same place, and here I am today, related to people in different places of the world through these migrations of people. So if there were a long time ago regular humans or Cro-Magnons living in Europe alongside Neanderthal who basically had a naturally formed elongated skull, what if that's the mix? Some mix or variation of Neanderthal and Cro-Magnon developed a large skull, because you have to remember that Cro-Magnon, like Neanderthal, both had a larger cranial capacity than modern humans, and they think that's because of admixture breeding with different species of hominids or different humans. So we have mixes of Denisovan, Neanderthal, Cro-Magnon, and various others that they're just kind of calling ghost species at this time, because it's on the line of political correctness to talk about the science of admixtures and hominids. So we're just going to skip on then so we don't get ourselves in trouble. But what if that is what everybody's blaming on, aliens, was just a group of elongated head, human hominid people that may have had superior intellectual capabilities. And that may be, maybe that's why they went to Peru. They were looking for all those megalithic structures because they had already known about them. Makes sense to me. But, after the ethnic cleansing from the Nazca, they seem to have run off to the Inca, where they mixed with the Incan line. And then you start seeing elongated head people with Inca bones that only come from the Inca people. So, there was some kind of mixing event there as well between the Paracas people and the Inca in the royal lines, no less. Well, anyway, let's move on to some pretty weird other stuff, and let's see what kind of sharticles they're pushing through science today. Or maybe it's real. Who knows? Physicists say that they may have found a powerful glitch in the universe. Once you reach a cosmic scale, terms and conditions apply, evidently. So this first chapter is titled Einstein 2.0. Researchers have discovered what they're calling a cosmic glitch in gravity, which could potentially help explain the universe's strange behavior on a cosmic scale. As detailed in a new paper published in the Journal of Cosmology and Astrophysical Physics, the team from University of Waterloo and the University of British Columbia in Canada posit that Albert Einstein's theory of general relativity may not be sufficient to explain the accelerated expansion of the universe. Oh, I forgot to hit both cough buttons. So that cough was just for you guys on the radio as some sound effect. Anyway, Einstein's model of gravity has been essential for everything from theorizing the Big Bang, which is, that's that's a laughable idea at this point. Once they start discovering things that are older than the Big Bang and just saying, oh, well, it was just sitting out there, that star. Maybe a couple galaxies, who knows, maybe another universe, Some of the stuff they say is really silly, like dark matter and black holes. Some of it's really funny. But anyway, Einstein's model of gravity has been essential from everything from these ideas being theorized, because they are all still theories, Big Bang to photographing black holes, said author and Waterloo mathematician physics graduate Robin Wynn in a statement about the research. But when we try to understand gravity on a cosmic scale, at the scale of the galaxy's clusters and beyond, we encounter apparent inconsistencies with the predictions in general relativity. In other words, they can't figure out why everything's moving away from each other, and some of it seemingly faster than light speed. But does it still exist? Maybe it's just being sucked into one of their super giant, massive, magical black holes that seem to be just the next stage of a star. In my opinion, that's all it is. It's at the next stage in a star. It gathers enough mass. True, it does affect light and pull light into it, but is it a whole? Of course not. It's an ever-expanding mass. That's what it is. Almost like a tumor in the universe. Anyway, it's almost as if gravity itself stops perfectly matching Einstein's theory, he added. We are calling this inconsistency a cosmic glitch. Gravity becomes around 1% weaker when dealing with distances in the billions of light years. In response, the team came up with a new model of such a glitch, that modifies Einstein's theory to resolve these inconsistencies. Think of it as being like a footnote to Einstein's theory, Wynn said in the statement. Once you reach a cosmic scale, terms and conditions apply. It's one of the possible solutions for a problem that astronomers and physicists have been racking their brains over for decades. Almost a century ago, astronomers discovered that our universe is expanding, explained co-author and University of Waterloo astrophysicist Naisha Afshori. The further away galaxies are, the faster they are moving, to the point that they seem to be moving at nearly the speed of light, the maximum allowed by Einstein's theory. Our findings suggest that sorry, I had another stutter moment. Please bear with me. Our findings suggest that those very scales, Einstein's theories, may also be insufficient, he added. According to their suggested patch for the cosmic glitch is only the beginning. This new model might just be the first clue in a cosmic puzzle we are all starting to solve across space and time, he said. And then that's lame, and that was the end of that. So whatever you got out of that. Here, this is cool. The giant gray ghost lizard went extinct 100 years ago. Or did it? Maybe not. A new article offers a ray of hope that the giant Tongan ground skink, nicknamed the Gray Ghost, the giant Tongan ground skink was a remarkable creature and one with a storied history. Stealthy, solitary, the elusive lizard, endemic of the Tongan island of the South Pacific, was rumored to have special powers by the native Tongans. It was said that when the tribesmen spotted the rare 1.5-foot sleeky gray predator, something portentous happened or would occur, possibly a funeral. The species was first discovered, to science that is, between the years of 1826 and 1829 by two French scientists, Jean-René Constant and Curie. I don't know if you say his name that way or whatever, man. Joseph Paul Gaimard? Coy and Gaimard travel abroad the Astrobal and exploration ship of the French Navy as it circumvented the globe. The naturalists collected the only two specimens of the giant skink in existence, which are now housed in the Paris Natural History Museum. And they're all bloated and shiny looking, but there they are. The only two specimens of the elusive giant Tongan ground skink in existence are pictured here. The species, oh, no way am I doing that name, Microlepis, is listed as extinct by the IUCN Red List and threatened species. However, a new paper authored by scientist Ivan Enrich, or there's no R, Enich, I don't know, Wolfgang Bohemi, boy, these, I just sausage fest this all of their names always. I'm sorry to that, to my, let's check in on those YouTube listeners. Actually, say that with some what? Stimulation. Oh my God. Yeah, it's a tongue titty twister, if I'm allowed to say that on the radio. It's a titty tongue twister, man. I can't say it. Anyway, back to the thing. The giant skink may still be living in remote areas of southern Tonga. I don't know, man. Are we talking like where Hunga Tonga is at? Because they might have been blown away, man. We believe that it's still alive in southern Tonga and should in particular be searched for in the national park, which hosts the last remaining rainforest of this area, states the authors. It could also occur on the small Kalu Island located south of EU. I don't know how to say that. It's EUA, however you pronounce that. Whoa. Anyway, let's move on to some more cool stuff. China releases CGI video of a moon base. And it contains something very strange. In the background seems to be NASA taking off from their moon base. The Chinese National Space Administration, the CNSA, has shown off its CGI video of its vision of the lunar base, a vastly ambitious plan the country is hoping to realize in a matter of decades. The showy, albeit dated-looking render shows plans for International Lunar Research Station, a Chinese and Russian endeavor that was first announced in 2021. The video is raising eyebrows for its bizarre cameo, which features a NASA space shuttle taking off from the launch pad in the distance, as spotted by Space.com. It's either some next-level humor from the Chinese space program or a hilarious oversight, since the shuttle has been retired for more than a decade, not to mention that the Chinese and NASA aren't even allowed to talk to each other, never mind collaborate. As space reporter Jack Kerr later spotted, the Chinese-run China Global Television Network came up with an equally hilarious fix to the hide the shuttle taking off in the background. Boom, problem solved. Kerr tweeted, CGTN went ahead and slapped a old reliable blur bar over the shuttle. Here, let's watch that for you guys on YouTube. Let me mute that, though. There we go. Let's see what they got in store for us. So we're flying down on the moon, and here's what looks like an early 90s digital representation of traveling to the moon. Oh, that one's a little newer. That's like late 90s. It'll support long-term autonomous operations by 2035, they're saying. technology verification, and resource utilization. So they're going to get up there and mine all that H3. I guess that's what the next phase of the Great Reset will be, is massive amounts of workforce on Earth building robotics to dig up power from the moon. Yeah, space collaborates anyway, huh? Anyway, that was pretty cool. Maybe they're gonna buy the old NASA stuff. I don't know. Anyway, NASA retired its workhorse spacecraft in 2011, relying on Russian. So, and this is another laughable thing for the U.S. Supposedly, especially with Project Paperclip, where we basically kidnapped, but then let all have a normal life, all of these Nazi scientists out of the German military and the SS, and we brought them over here, and like Werner von Braun. And his whole idea for space stations, the bicycle space station, spacecraft, the whole thing that NASA did with liquid fuel rockets was basically something that he thought up when he was a kid. And we brought all those scientists over here, and they built it for us, and it's never really gone past that kind of technology. So what happened? I don't know, but it seems to be that they're still just using liquid fuel technology, which is kind of silly, which we'll get into some of that here in a minute. Generative AI could be the authoritarian breakthrough in brainwashing. And this, if you watch the MAYAC or listen to it on Revolution.Radio on Thursday night, we were kind of talking about this, or I was kind of talking about this. If you just put all of the technologies together and really look at the big picture of what's possible. Now, I'm not saying that it's all fixed up and it's all ready to go and they're already using it, but they might be. Anyway, generative AI could be an authoritarian breakthrough in brainwashing. Let's see what they have to say here. This AI is poised to be the free world's next great gift to authoritarians. The viral launch of ChatGPT, a system with eerily like human capabilities in composing essays, poetry, and computer code, has awakened the world's dictators to the transformation power of generative AI to create unique, compelling content at scale. It's kind of like, over in the Ukraine now, they're just using the AI. They got a black AI lady that's the spokesperson for the Ukrainian Slavic nation and their army. So I don't know what's that's about or why. But whatever. I guess they want people to have a different idea of what's going on there. That's the only thing I can figure out. The fierce debate has ensued among Western industry leaders on the risk of releasing advanced generative AI tools has largely missed where their effects are likely to be the most we'll just skip that. I'm not going to say that in a million years. Within autocracies, every time I hit that stutter mark, you guys love it, I know. You know what? I need some stutter medication. That's my problem. Oh, good God. There it is. All right. Fierce debate between leaders releasing advanced generative AI tools has largely missed where their effects are likely to be the most, I'm still not going to say that word because that's one of my favorite words. I'll just spell it for you. It's PERNICIOUS. That's one of those stutter words for me. I'm just going to move on to the next it gets me every time. Should I just clam up? No. AI companies and the U.S. government alike must institute stricter norms for the development of tools like ChatGPT in full view of their game-changing potential for the world's authoritarians before it's too late. So far, concerns around generative AI and autocrats have mostly focused on how these systems can turbocharge Chinese and Russian propaganda efforts in the United States. Totally not the Ukrainians or the Israelis or the U.S. government itself doing this to you. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Anyway, where was I? ChatGPT already has demonstrated, AI's ability to automate Chinese and Russian foreign disinformation with the push of a button, when it combined with advancements in targeted advertisement and other new precision propaganda techniques, generative AI portends a revolution in the speed, scale, and credibility of autocratic influence operations. But however daunting Chinese and Russian foreign disinformation effort looks in a post-GPT world, open societies receive only a small fraction of the propaganda that Beijing and Moscow blast into their own populations. See, don't worry about what they're doing over there. We're not doing it over here, are we? We wouldn't do that. Anyway, let's move on. So, can they brainwash you with AI? Well, possibly if you're weak-minded. This isn't the kind of brainwashing I was talking about the other night on the show. What I was talking about is if we can now pull ideas out of people, text, images, etc., then what's to stop the future advancements in this technology from putting it back into your head in reverse? Because, in my opinion, if there's a technology that can pull it out, then there would be one that could push it in. And that's the fear. Hypnosis and AI, exploring the intersection of two fascinating fields. And this is my own hypothesis theory. My own theory, is that they are combining all of these technologies right here. And we'll see what this article says, but if it's possible to hypnotize people with technology using various different techniques, then who's to say that you even know what you know, you feel what you feel, or you agree with what you agree with? And that kind of falls into that uniparty idea of, we'll vote for all these things, but we'll pretend to argue, and you can continue to pick out your team and push tribalism that never amounts to anything. So where were we? All right. In recent years, there has been increasing interest in the intersection of the hypnosis and artificial intelligence. While hypnosis has been used for centuries as a therapeutic tool, AI is more recent and development that is rapidly transforming our world. This article explores how these two fascinating fields intersect. Hypnosis and AI. What is hypnosis? Before delving into the intersection of hypnosis and AI, it is important to understand what hypnosis is. Hypnosis is a state of deep relaxation and a heightened suggestibility. It is often used as a therapeutic tool to help individuals overcome various issues, such as anxiety, phobias, and addictions. During hypnosis, individuals are guided into a state of relaxation and then given suggestions to help change their thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Worship money. What is AI? Artificial intelligence, on the other hand, refers to the development of computer systems that can perform tasks that typically require human intelligence, such as visual perception, speech recognition, decision-making, and language translation, all done by AI now. AI has rapidly transformed various industries, including healthcare, finance, transportation, and is expected to have even greater impact in the future. Now, how hypothesis, not even the right word, that was a brain fart, dude. God, this is why I don't go live. How hypnosis and AI are intersecting. While hypnosis and AI may seem like two completely different fields, there are several ways in which they are intersecting, something already stated like 3 times during this article. So now I'm going to use my NPR voice, and maybe that'll help me from stuttering. No, really, if you do have a stutter, one thing I learned is kind of to go into characters, and sometimes you can just trick your brain to misfire in the right direction. AI-powered hypnosis. One way in which hypnosis and AI are intersecting is through the development of AI-powered hypnosis. With AI-powered hypnosis, individuals can receive hypnosis sessions from the comfort of their own homes using their couch or recliner chair, where they relax and watch the evening news. That's already doing that. But anyway, back to the article. Homes using an app or other digital platform they can use to hypnotize their self, I guess, is what they're pushing. The AI system can guide individuals through a hypnosis session, tailor that session to specific needs, and provide feedback on their progress. Now, it always sounds great, all of these technologies, and you can see the benefit and the good that you could use with them. But just like language itself, it's always a two-sided weapon, for defense or for attack. Just like think about language itself. At some point, human-like people started speaking with words, and then they started conveying ideas, which made life a lot easier. So you could convey your idea to another person, and you could share things, knowledge, histories, etc. But then came a point, who knows when it started, maybe with those little rat-like creatures that we supposedly evolved from millions of years ago. But at some point, one of those animals learned deception, and they've been deceiving. I mean, think about a squirrel in the woods. If you've ever watched a documentary about forest squirrels, you might have seen one that shows them hide their nuts. Right? They hide their nuts. They love their nuts. They want to hide their nuts. They want to take care of their nuts. They're preppers. They dig holes. They fill the holes full of nuts, lots of food, right? But then there's little sneaky other squirrels that are looking from every angle out there in the forest. And as soon as they leave, another squirrel will come and dig it all up and steal it. So it might seem like in the long transition of animals, if you believe that theory, to humans, that at some point it became inherent in our species to learn how to deceive. And that means that as soon as language started, the deception went into overdrive, just like invention, imagination, and, communication of positive things like how to do things and stuff like that. So how's that going to affect this point in history? Knowing that deception or lying is inherent in our species to some degree, obviously. What's it mean when the AI starts to tell you things that are misrepresenting for your own good, a reflection of reality that is the way it's supposed to look to you? Instead, you get a altered version. And can they do that technologically? Well, let's continue. Hypnosis for AI development. Another way in which hypnosis and AI are intersecting is through the use of hypnosis and AI development. Hypnosis can be used to help developers overcome mental blocks, increasing creativity and improve focus, all of which can be beneficial in developing more AI systems. AI is also being used to advance hypnosis research. For example, AI algorithms can be used to analyze large amounts of data on hypnosis and provide insights into the effectiveness and potential applications. Potential benefits of hypnosis and AI intersection. The intersection of hypnosis and AI has several potential benefits, including increased accessibility. AI-powered hypnosis makes it easier for individuals to access hypnosis sessions regardless of their location or schedule. Improved customization. AI-powered hypnosis can tailor sessions to an individual's specific needs, providing more customized experience. Are you picking it up? As Diamond over at the Oppenheimer rant says, are you picking it up? Because I hear something totally different. Improved customization means that they can tailor it, right, to sessions to an individual. In other words, this AI intersection of hypnosis and AI can be targeted at specific people for any number of reasons, right? Enhanced effectiveness. We can use it to analyze data. In other words, put all the data of millions of people. It's kind of like what I told you guys on another show. You have millions and millions of people playing these games like Call of Duty, which are war simulators, which to a degree shows the computer what millions and millions of people would do in combat scenarios, at least to a degree. So they can combine all that data and then continue to have people play, so they get all this massive amounts of data on what humans would do if they were in combat, which means that the AI can reverse that data and use it against humans in a combat scenario. It has a more developed percentage rate of predicting the behaviors and tactics, motivations, and skill sets of potential targets, if that makes sense. That was a tongue tire, wasn't it? Anyway, potential challenges of hypnosis and AI intersection. While the intersection of hypnosis and AI has several potential benefits, there are also potential challenges, including ethical concerns. Well, oh, no way, really? As with any emerging technology, there are ethical concerns surrounding the intersection of hypnosis and AI. For example, there may be concerns about the use of AI-powered hypnosis on vulnerable populations. I think that's what I just said. Anyway, let's move on. AI-powered hypnosis may lack the human interaction and connection that is often an important part of traditional hypnosis. Limited research. While there is some research in the intersection of hypnosis and... Whoa, they just didn't even finish that. It just says, and... That's a hell of an end of a sentence. And the robot must have killed the author. Limited research. While there is some research and intersection on hypnosis and AI, it is still relatively a new field with limited empirical evidence. Anyway, all I hear is blah, blah, blah. We're figuring out how to completely run people, especially if we start to integrate with the technology, which, you know, everyone has been watching. From the iWatch and iPhones and the little robots you carry around in your pocket that quadruply verify your location on this earth. We've been integrating with it, and now we're talking how small can the integration happen. And if you've been paying attention to the technology, you'll know that we are now in the nano age. That's right. There's teeny tiny little technologies out there that can infect your environment in ways you cannot see. And I'm sure a lot of you guys know what I'm talking about. But let's move on to the AI. Brain Chat GPT, or what is this? Brain GPT? Thought to text. This is something that I've been talking about for a long time. This is a new article I came across from 2023. Brain GPT, thoughts to text, how AI can read your mind. And again, this is another technology that can be brought to you in a positive way. This can help people that are, can't talk. Like if there's something wrong with their body, this can help people maybe even in comas for us to know if there's somebody alive in there. Who knows what benefits could come from the technology. But I know what the military-industrial complex and the elite will do with this technology. They'll use it to find out what you're thinking. That's what they'll do. Exactly what it's telling you it can do. If you thought that you had to lie inside the fMRI machine for AI to puzzle your mind, think again. Brain GPT systems have become portable. Excuse me. And this is exactly what I've been talking about. They can combine the technologies. Once it becomes portable, then you can put it in a scanning device. So you can think, how close are we to Star Trek type, what would they call them? Their tricorder, right? It's a tricorder. It's got all these different things that are, got sensors that are looking at everything. But anyway, let's go back to this. Brain GPT, a mind reading app, is significantly closer than you might have imagined. A significant advance in sensor technology has made Brain GPT a portable prospect. At the moment, it's a technology with around 40% accuracy. That's better than the weather, folks. But speech recognition moved quickly, and so could this. Well, I would imagine that this is a year old. The technology probably is older than it was given out to the public, and I've been talking about this for a long time, so it's been out for a while. Is it that time? Is smoke break time? Almost in a few minutes. In just a few minutes. Anyway, so we're talking right here about this thing. It's saying that it's getting better. Volunteers used to have to lie inside, not lie to the machine, I guess, in the machine and listen to podcasts before large language models could decode their thoughts, but not anymore. Portable, high-performance, multi-channel, wireless EEG acquisition systems have been shown to be capable of brain GPT-enabled thought-to-text conversation, which is a big deal. And I would put to you that it is a big deal. And it's a real big deal, in my opinion. Let's round that off. Let's see here. What's going on in the YouTube chat? What is that? Is that sunshine coming in on my screen over here? That's cool. Anyway, let me open up the chat to YouTube. And if you'd like to join the conversation with like-minded people, we are at Mountain High Time on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, this is the Revolution.Radio feed that we're doing here on the Mountain High Time show on Revolution.Radio, which is listener supported. So, you know, if you would like to continue to hear stuff like this, hint, hint, you could help a brother or some more brothers and sisters out over at the radio channel with a little bit of donations to help them get along with their lives. Listener supported, because we're not CNN and we're not trying to brainwash you. Yeah, think about that. So now we're talking about portable devices, and we'll get in a minute. There's another machine that takes the image out of your head. And I've been talking about this for a long time, but I think that people are starting to really lose pace with the amount of technology and how it's moving forward and how it can be used. The combination of the technologies. So once it's portable, it's going to be miniaturized. Once it's miniaturized, it'll start coming in appliances. You mark my word. When the appliances now have things that can know how you feel, then it kind of is like, if you guys remember that movie, The Fifth Element, when they just break in and they can see through everybody's house and they're like, put your hands on the circle. Yes, that's what's going to be happening. And think of this for all you guys that live in a place that still allows self-defense mechanisms or protection devices or whatever you want to call it. Eventually they're going to say you can't have those. It's going to happen. I don't know how far down the line, but it'll eventually happen. And when it does happen, you're going to see groups of guys that can get a text readout of what you're thinking and, you know, images from your mind when they're beating you, asking you questions. And you're going to tell them. You might not tell them verbally, but you're going to tell them where it's at. And they'll probably just go home to home with metal detectors and x-ray scanners to find out who has what where and where they put it in their house. You guys are smoking already, they say. James Foster. Well, that's cool. And anyway, we're going to round this out to Revolution.Radio. Interlude there for the break. And 5 minutes to go pee or do whatever, and then we'll get back in to the news on Mountain High Time. But these are just articles that, like I said, this stoner pays attention to. Don't think that anything I'm saying is, you know, the way it is. It's just the way that it could be, or it might be, or that I'm seeing, you know, maybe too many connections in the dots. What do you think? You tell me in the chat. Do I go too far with connecting all of these different technologies with the idea that they could all be connected and used against you in the human domain? I don't think so, but we'll be right back. Let me mute them guys over there. All right, they're muted. And I'll be back in 5 minutes. You guys can watch this because you guys like it, and that's what you want to watch.
This is Mysteries in the Histories. Over a period of 6 weeks in 1994, the small town of Oakville, Washington was hit with a bizarre string of storms that rained weird gelatinous blobs all over the town. And then people started getting sick. This is the weird and still unsolved mystery of the Oakville blobs. It began raining the clear gelatinous goop on the 7th of August. No one knew where it came from or what it was. The blobs contained similar-looking white cells as humans. People in the town who had contact with the blobs began feeling sick and scared a few hours later. Residents in the small city reported that what fell from the sky was not water, but gooey, slimy, clear and translucent blobs the size of a grain of rice. Over the next 3 weeks, in an area measuring 20 square miles, there would be 5 more events of the terrifying ooze raining down on unsuspecting citizens. There were reports of people developing flu-like symptoms from contact or proximity to the blobs, even of animals dying. The very day of the raining blobs. So what was it? And was it making people sick? A sample of the Oakville blobs was sent to the Hazardous Material Unit at the Department of Ecology of Washington State. Once received microbiologist Mike McDowell found 2 species of bacteria in the Oakville blobs, stating one of these was known to infect the human digestive system. But scientist Mike Osweiler of the Washington State Department said they found a number of cells of various sizes and 2 types of bacteria in the blobs, but were unable to identify them. They did, however, note that the cells did not have nuclei. This was significant because it refuted a previous claims that the blobs contained human-like white blood cells, which do have nuclei. So what were the Oakville blobs? One theory is that it was jellyfish or parts of jellyfish dispersed into rain clouds by bombing runs carried out by the Air Force. Another theory, fluid waste from an airplane toilet, but the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration pointed out that this would have been blue, not translucent. Still another theory is that of an example of panspermia, an event dropping the unknown cells down upon the Earth. Panspermia is the hypothesis that life exists throughout the universe, distributed by space dust, meteoroids, asteroids, comets, and maybe even clouds of raining blobs perhaps. What if it was fluid waste from a UFO or UAP toilet? Just think about that for a minute. Ever since the 14th century, there have been reports of a substance very similar to the blobs in Oakville being found elsewhere, called star jelly, astral jelly, or astromyxin, named after the legend that it falls from the sky during meteor showers. What if the blobs never rained in the first place, that they emerged from a more earthly plane? This would require overlooking the witness statements of those who saw the blobs fall. But it has been a theory. All the original uncollected blobs have long disappeared, and there are no known remaining samples of the Oakville blobs, including at the Washington Department of Health. They apparently have no records of ever receiving any, but allegedly, the Washington State Department took all known samples and somehow misplaced them. Inter alia, frog spawn, sodium polyacrylate crystals or algae have been the source of other blob events. However, there are many unexplained instances of the raining goop, including in 2013 when slime was found at the Ham Wall Nature Reserve in Somerset, England. Despite sending samples for DNA testing to the Natural History Museum, just like in Oakville, no conclusion was ever reached or explanation given. Raining blobs of Oakville is another one of the great mysteries in the histories. Sign up to our show notes email list and get access to longer episodes of Mysteries in the Histories just for signing up. Signing up for the show notes, you get behind-the-scenes thoughts and points we sometimes can't relay over social media platforms. Brought to you by ITM Trading. ITM Trading has spent the last 28+ years developing a team of expert researchers and gold and silver analysts to make this possible. Simply put, we build strategies which are historically proven to protect your wealth and assets through any economic downturn. 866-834-1422. That's 866-834-1422.
Sweet. We're back on the air. Almost. I'm waiting on the commercial over there for Revolution Radio. But what you guys smoking out there, man? I see everybody talking about over here. He was smoking before my break, man. No, I'm just joking. I start the 420 early. That's weird light coming in here at this time of day. Anyway, here it goes. I'm going to have to unmute him over there. They're getting back to the host right now. And welcome back to Mountain High Time on Revolution.Radio. Thanks for joining us for the second hour. I'm your host, DJ Ransom, the Freedomist. But you guys can just call me Ransom because I'm just a regular stoner dude looking at the headlines. And somebody commented in my email that why do I keep bringing up make fun of people that stutter? I don't make fun of people that stutter. I did LSD one time, and I had like a vial of LSD. And, well, I was, trying to share with it. But it turned out to be a bad batch. Not bad like it was bad, but like it didn't do nothing. So I went to complain to the guy that I got the vial of LSD from, that it was weak sauce. And so I don't know if he was trying to get back at me, or he was embarrassed, or why, but he gave me another vial. And that one turned out to be some good pharmaceutical grade LSD. And then the next day, I don't know, I've stuttered since and had problems with my speech and blah. So there it is. So sometimes I may do that. And certain words trigger it. I could just look at it and I know I can't speak afterwards. So no, I'm not making fun of anyone at all. Why would I? I wouldn't do that. And if I did, it would be funny. And if they made fun of me for doing it, you guys go right ahead. I don't care. I could give a less. And so if you're listening on the radio, I just made all kinds of stupid faces. Anyway, let's get back to the news. Let's see what's going on in the Mountain High Time chat. And I wanted to do something before we do that, is to thank the people. And like I was saying before the break, this is listener supported radio, and if you're listening on Revolution.Radio, you can help out, which helps with all of the shows that you hear, people volunteering to make shows. There's a lot of them. I know some of the other people that make the shows. Great content. It's coming to you, and yeah, it's the only place I know of that still really allows free speech for you to say what you think, and not be punished or penalized for it. Penalized for it in the penal system or other. Anyway, let's get back to what I was talking about here. And I wanted to go over here and thank some of the people that have helped out Mountain High Time. Let me just look over here where it says all of that. And give a shout out to the people that helped me out. Stephanie, thank you for the $50. Much appreciated. Will help with the bills this month, definitely. Bill Sibley, who is a steady donator of about $20. He gives me and the Raven Wolf channel about $10 each every so often. Much appreciated, Bill. And let's see who else we got here. I know there was some more. We got Tim Yates. Thank you very much. Got a little bit from David Dubine. Thank you, Mr. Dubine. Bill Sibley again. And Francesca. Don't forget about Francesca. Thank you for donating $30 to Mountain High Time. Bill Sibley with another 10 spots. See, he has to have dumped a couple $100 over the months into here, and I appreciate everyone that has donated. Diane Heath, thank you. Oh, not Heath. Yes, that's right. Sorry. I hate when I mess up people's names, especially if you're being nice to me and helping me out on Mountain High Time. And if you would like to help out, just click on the blue link and we'll move on from that. Back to thoughts to text, thoughts to images. Can they read your mind? Yeah, they can. So how long is it till, they're pocket sized and you got a guy showing up at your door asking questions? Well, I don't know how long that's going to be, but I'm telling you, it's in the working. So let's move on to some local news right here. F-16 fighter jet crashes near Holloman Air Force Base, only about 6 miles, literally, from my house. Crashed into the White Sands National Park. And if you'd like to see what that looks like, I have a couple of 420 TV road trips where we go to White Sands and check out the beautiful gypsum sand of the White Sands National Park in Alamogordo, New Mexico, or near Holloman Air Force Base, whichever you like. The article says, White Sands National Park, New Mexico. According to the Associated Press, an F-16 fighter jet crashed west of Holloman Air Force Base in New Mexico on Tuesday, and the pilot safely ejected, authorities say. Base officials said the fighter Falcon went down near the White Sands National Park shortly before noon. The pilot was the only person on board and was taken by an ambulance to a hospital for medical care, base spokesman Denise said. Base officials said that the investigation was launched to determine the cause of the crash, and the F-16 was assigned to the 49th Wing at the base. Authorities said all non-emergency personnel were being told to avoid the crash site to prevent possible exposure to hazardous chemicals aboard the downed plane. Ain't that nice? I wonder how much of that blew over into my window. Literally, like And I always trip out on this because I live like in 2 flight paths. So I got one from the Air Force Base, the airport to the south of me with like small prop planes. They pull up a lot of gliders and glide around and do parachuting and all kinds of stuff that you would do out here in the Southwest. But it's right, the flight paths are right over my house. So it's like literally, and I wonder sometimes. Matter of fact, I was interviewing the 9/11 guy, and he was talking about planes flying into the building, and I had myself muted, and there was literally a plane sounded like it was about to crash into my house. And we've talked about that. What happens if that happens? Nothing. It'll probably blow out all the houses right next to me if it hit the ground here. Thank God it was flown out there towards the wilderness and not to the residential neighborhoods that are 5 miles away in my direction. So anyway, back to the news. That was just a side note, some local news. But yeah, think about it. Always worrying about whether or not a aircraft is going to just fall in your lap while you're doing something. Not cool, man. Not cool. Let's see what this one is. It failed to load here. Oh yeah, scientists can now read your mind. AI turns people's thoughts into images. I think we beat that with a dead horse. You can either believe it or don't believe it, but whatever. According to this article, artificial intelligence can now create images based on text prompts, but scientists unveiled a gallery of pictures, the technology produced by reading brain activity. The new AI, and most of this is just for those naysayers that thought I was just making up stuff because I didn't happen to have the articles or other articles near me. But you can use your deductive logic and critical thinking skills and wonder, hey, you know what, if all these startups have technology that can read your mind, how long is it going to be, or is it already happening, where other people with similar technologies or the same technologies are already doing it, or it's in practice? It's almost like the argument on whether or not they were, using the microphones and cameras to listen to you from your phones, and we all know that they are. Anyway, researchers from Osaka University used the popular Stable Diffusion model included in OpenAI's DALL-E 2, which can create any imagery based on text inputs. The team showed participants individual sets of images and collected fMRI, functional magnetic resonance imaging scans, which the AI then decoded. That's right. You ain't gonna hide that stuff, man. Where you're hanging out and you think you're prepping and you're just out there. The battle for your brain. Creepy World Economic Forum video shows how globalists plan to use AI mind control. Exactly what I was talking about. And they're talking about it over here. So let's see here. Do they have the video? Sometimes the videos don't work, and I think it's a form of censorship. We'll reload it and see if it pops up. And I'll show you guys on YouTube. But anyway, of course they want to use this. Of course, globalists and other parties want to use AI to control your mind. I mean, of course, that's just obvious at this point. I mean, think of the years and years and decades of predictive programming and Operation Mockingbird and all of these other things that continually try to shape and focus your mind to think things go down in a certain order or by certain people or in a certain fashion, when a lot of times that turns out not to be true at all, doesn't it? Moving on. Scientists keep finding giant sinkholes in China that hide ancient forests, unknown wildlife, and long-lost DNA. In the heart of China's karst landscapes, the recent discovery of massive sinkholes that contain ancient forests play a vital role in biodiversity conservation. There it goes again. See, that's that Chippy's greatest hits that I was telling you about. See, because there's a guy named Chippy there, and whatever. It became Chippy's greatest hits, and then you know why the mind just rolls off and goes in different directions and sometimes stutters. But anyway, back to conservation. And they supposedly, play a vital role in the biodiversity conservation and seem to be teeming with life. The karst, I'm not going to say, what is that? Tian Kings are refugees for genetic diversity, particularly from endangered species like Mangelitia aromatica. Yeah, I didn't say that right. Don't even, if you're listening over the radio, these are definitely not the names of those things. But anyway, a new study published in the March 2024 issue of the journal Forest provides compelling evidence of the sinkhole's significance in conservation of long lost DNA. So the karst kienkings are colossal sinkholes formed by the dissolution of soluble rocks such as limestone, which is prevalent in the regions like Guangxi, China. These geologic formations are not just spectacular natural wonders, they are also ecological hotspots. Peering down into these giant holes in the earth, one is greeted not with desolate rocky cave, but a hidden lush green forest. The scene down there was stunning, an underground pristine forest with no trace of human activity, with 40-meter-high ancient trees and a group of endangered wild plants from the time of the dinosaurs, explained Tang Jimenin, I don't know, an associated researcher at the Guangxi Institute of Botany, in an article. The process begins when water acidification by carbon dioxide seeps into the soil, slowly dissolving the underlying limestone over time. This leads to the creation of underground voids that eventually collapse, forming tingyens. I don't know if I'm saying that right, so I will spell it for you guys over the radio. That is Tiankengs, which is a Mandarin word for heavenly pits. Excuse me if I could talk right. Heavenly pits. So we're just going to call it that from now on. These Chinese Mandarin heavenly pits, with 300 known pits in the world, 200 of which are in China, scientists have been studying the various plants and animals that reside there. Oh, wow, this is magnificent. What you're looking at is a large picture showing these giant holes next to what appears to be a roadway and a building and some other stuff in a valley of mountains made out of limestone. So this is the sinkholes in Guangxi region. Pretty awesome stuff. And to you guys on the radio, there are two giant holes surrounded by green, luscious forest, and evidently have giant pockets of forest within them. This most recent study, conducted by a team of researchers, including the Tang guy, it's not Poo-Tang, it's just Tang. I don't know if did I say Poo-Tang? I just meant Tang, though. Not Pootie Tang or Poo-Tang. It's just Tang. Some people probably don't even know what Poontang is, but you know what? Let's just move on before we get in trouble. Okay, so the Institute of Botany utilized advanced hyper-sequence gene sequencing technology, or HyperSeq, which is gene sequencing technology to analyze the genetic diversity of the God, I don't even know what this is. Mangletia aromatica, a rare tree species sheltered for millennia. This tree thrives in these deep sinkholes and has avoided near extinct fate of its surface living brethren. According to the study, the genetic diversity within the populations of these holes, the tree is significantly higher than those found outside of the sinkholes. Specifically, the genetic diversity index was 0.2044 for populations within the sinkholes, compared with 0.1671 for those outside. The Chinese scientists suggest that the sinkholes may act as natural conservatories, preserving a rich genetic pool that enhances species resilience and adaptability. Moreover, the study revealed modern genetic differentiation between populations inside and outside the sinkholes. This moderate differentiation underscores the partial genetic isolation provided by these sinkholes, which likely contributes to the unique genetic traits observed within the populations in them. Really simple terms, life inside these underground forests evolved differently, and as if this was the case for the tree, what does it say for all of the other species of plants and animals that live in there? By revealing the plant's mating system patterns and spatial variation rules, its evolutionary history, and those changes in the geographical distribution in response to the climate and geological environment, changes our study and provides scientific basis for effective protections. Have you guys been paying attention to Ashton Forbes, citizen journalist and high technological unification of quantum and macro organizer of the MH370X? You can find him on youtube.com at just X Ashton. Anyway, I've been following this, and I've been seeing a number of people trying to debunk this guy over and over again. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about over the radio, he's a guy that posted an old video of what appears to be the plane or a similar plane to MH370, the missing plane that everybody was looking for, and it shows orbs circling the plane. Now, people have come out and said it was fake, but I've kind of gone over what they have and what they don't have, and I don't think anyone's debunked him. Some of the stuff that they're saying is just untrue, and it's weird that the whole supposed UFO Twitter or UFO community as a whole has got together and attacked this guy. You might have seen him on the Oppenheimer Ranch Project or Magnetic Reversal News, because he did have Ashton on as a guest there, I think twice maybe. I've asked Ashton to come on. He's busy right now, but I think he's going to be coming on to do one of the radio programs, and he can put his case on the table. I'm not going to debate him. I'm just going to let him say what he says so that you in the audience can just decide whether or not, is it a hoax? Is it real? So, I don't know. We'll talk about it. Maybe. Let's move on. U.S. military pits man against machine in the world's first human versus AI dogfight. And they refused to say who won. Well, I'll tell you who won. It was the robot. It was the robot. I'm guessing. I don't know. Anyway, the U.S. military has confirmed that it staged the world's first ever human versus AI dogfight in the skies above California. The battle took place over Edwards Air Force Base in September of last year when a pilot, an F-16, went up against an unmanned X-62A Vista variable in-flight simulator test aircraft as part of DARPA's Air Combat Evolution ACE program. That's ACE program. On Wednesday, DARPA released video about the encounter on YouTube and hailed the world first on his Twitter account. So we're going to play that for you guys on, let me mute it, on YouTube. So maybe they'll skip to the point. Anyway, if you've been following me, I've been telling you about the project for a new American century, in which their think tank talked about how by 2025, next year, that they wanted to have the U.S. military or Air Force all AI aircraft, all of it, all AI pilots. So now we're here in 2024, and this is what we're seeing. Well, let me skip forward. They're trying to propagandize us on the video. Hold on, let me fast forward to the actual footage of the oh, it looks like those graphics the Chinese are using. What's going on here? Here we go. Anyway, they don't need you no more. They don't need you for nothing. They don't need you for being a pilot. They don't need you for working on stuff. There's a carpenter robot. Yeah, they had a problem with batteries in the past, but I think they're about done with that, and they're about to show the world, well, after a lot of people die, that is, that the energy is actually easy to make. When I called this, I told you guys that the flight, was, they're just showing a computer model of two planes flying towards each other, dogfighting, and they're not going to show us the results. So as a matter of fact, on the last episode of Mountain High Time on the Revolution.Radio, I even played parts out of the video I titled AI and the Future of Aircraft. And that's going to be AI in all variations. I don't think that they're going to let humans fly anymore. They may have some reason or another, they're having too many heart attacks, strokes, whatever. But, the AI pilot's not going to do that. And then you got to look over at Israel. They got their little kill bots flying around deciding who to blow up. Anyway, the military is currently refusing to discuss or disclose which combatant won in the 2020 in 2020 during a totally simulated dogfight between a human and an AI pilot. The AI pilot won, it says. Asking the question of who won the dogfights doesn't necessarily capture the nuance of the testing that we accomplished, said the DARPA ACE program manager, Lieutenant Colonel Ryan Heffron. According to the commandant, the Air Force Test Pilot School, James Valpiani, the larger point of the program is how do we apply machine learning to combat autonomy. So that's your terminology right there. Machine learning to combat autonomy. In other words, the machine learns how to kill and blow up things on its own without a human pilot. And then maybe even when to kill, who to kill. And, that's going to be scary, especially when you got all these technologies reading people's minds and what they might or might not be thinking or believing in during any particular authoritarian autocrat rule. Anyway, one current headache for the program is the question of certification and ensuring that AI aviators can be trusted to operate aircraft safely. The potential for machine learning in aviation, whether military or civil, is enormous. And these fundamental questions of how we do it safely, how we do it, train them, and the questions that we're trying to get after, the question is they're already doing it. So it doesn't matter about the question when we're doing it. I think I had another article. If you can, you don't have the memory of a goldfish, and when I get to it, you'll remember that article. But anyway, let's move on. Scientist pitches morbid theory on why aliens haven't made contact. Extraterrestrial civilizations may have been destroyed by gamma ray burst, astronomer Frederick Walter has said. Alien civilizations have not yet made contact with humans because they may have been annihilated by gamma ray burst, GRBs. The Daily Mail reported on Tuesday, citing Frederick Walter, an astronomer from Stony Brook University in New York. According to NASA, GBR and short-lived outburst of light that can erupt with a quintillion times the luminosity of the sun. Walter believes the force of an outburst would be enough to destroy any extraterrestrial civilization. It's a tightly focused beam, and if it's directed through the plane of the galaxy, it could basically sterilize about 10% of the planets in the galaxy, Walter explained. The astronomer noted that according to his estimates, there is a GRB in any galaxy roughly every 100 million years. Over 1 billion years on average, you might expect to see a significant number of civilizations be eradicated should they exist. It's just one of those many possibilities, many explanations, sort of morbid, I suppose, he said. According to Walter, estimates the Milky Way galaxy could have seen around 45 GRBs in the Earth's 4.5 billion year history, which, I don't even know if that's an accurate year, but that's what we're going with. Anyway, he stressed, however, that any potential threat to humanity from this type of event is not worth worrying about. They're rare and they're directed, he stated. Well, if they're not worth worrying about, why are we worrying about them wiping out aliens? Anyway, he stated, noting that this makes GRBs unlikely to hit Earth. NASA describes GRBs as the most powerful events known in the universe. The phenomenon was first observed in 1967 via a pair of U.S. Vela satellites designed to detect nuclear weapon tests. However, most researchers say that GRBs are more common in distant star-forming galaxies and are less likely to happen in the Milky Way. Walter also speculated on other reasons behind humankind's inability to detect extraterrestrial life, suggesting that worlds may be filled with life forms resembling aquatic species like whales and dolphins. For this type of civilization, it would be impossible to develop the technology needed for space travel or communications. And probably that's because there's a theory out that intellectual, technological civilizations cannot arise without the presence of an atmosphere, because they can't make fire, thus they can't, make metals and blah, blah, blah. Even though in an infinite universe, this line of evolution may have taken a different course, leading to other aliens, in my opinion, maybe reaching that threshold without having an air atmosphere. But anyway, he went on to say that some alien civilizations might simply choose not to take the risk that comes with contacting other potentially dangerous life forms. Another explanation, he added, which many physicists and astronomers support, is that technologically advanced life forms on other planets might have destroyed themselves. Now, a lot of people wonder, why are we looking for extraterrestrials with radio? Well, the answer to that is, I don't know. A lot of people think that, they wouldn't even be listening to us because they would be using laser or some kind of faster than light communication, maybe even quantum entanglement. But as you've seen in recent headlines, we just shot a beam, I don't know how many million miles back to Earth. So they know that they can kind of get near light speed communication going. So what does that mean for extraterrestrials looking for other civilizations? See, I always thought that that was kind of silly to think that other civilizations wouldn't look at radio waves because it kind of follows that if they went to a similar course, radio might have been one of their first discoveries. So therefore, they would know that any primitive civilization that was just on the cusp of wondering about whether or not there were other civilizations out there would probably be using radio. Now, they might not be using it for radio like we do as far as TV and entertainment, but they would be using it for communication and exploring the universe. So in my opinion, they would just ignore us when they found us, and they might be looking for us out there. They're probably just waiting for some kind of indication that our technology has reached the ability to communicate with near light speed, and that way that they could communicate with people. Anyway, let's move on over here. Central banker tells the World Economic Forum that the dreaded vid helps with the transition into a cashless society. Oh, isn't that nice? And that's something that I was telling you about at the time, that they were using this whole gimmick to usher in a cashless society. And they're going to be using all kinds of excuses. The money passes microbes. You can get diseases for the money's dirty. And then there's another push for, if we end cash, then there can't be any illegal transitions, which would stop crime and all of these other things, which is silly because people will find a way to have a black market no matter what to do crime. So that theory is silly. The real reason is because without cash, they don't have the ability to not know what you're doing. Or I said that backwards. So with cash, they don't have the ability to watch every single decision you make. Cash is king, and people take cash. And with cash becomes ability to buy things and have things in a private way between person to person. Private transactions. And that is what they don't want you to have. That is what they don't want you to have cash for, because they want to completely track and trace every move you make all the way down to the last digital dollar. That way you can never avoid them. And it removes the power that the middle class have in the United States. We still have, a couple of powers that people aren't using properly, but they could. You have the power of your dollar. And that means that you should buy your things that you actually need. Give money to people that are trying to do the same thing as you, and keep your money local. Don't buy from these people that do things that you don't agree with, like these mega corporations. And I know that's hard to do. You need stuff, you got to go to Walmart. So, and they know that too. They know that, you'll end up hurting your own civilization by what they offer you, because it's all part of the plan. OpenAI CEO eyeball scanning digital ID project. WorldCoin hopes to partner with OpenAI and has had conversations with PayPal. WorldCoin eyes partnerships with OpenAI and PayPal amid regulatory challenges and privacy concerns, signaling a potential expansion in digital ID networks. Now, if you've been watching my channel or listening to me for some time, the truth is in the hidden lingo. So your ID is you. That's what you self-identify as, I guess. But it also means everything about you and is an actual thing. It means your biometrics. It means you. It means your mental state. And that's who you are. And if they can control this with the Internet of Things, then you put those two together and you get the word idiot. Idiot. That's what they're going to do. Anyway, the Internet of all things and your ID, they just go together. WorldCon. I'm sorry. That was a Freudian slip. WorldCoin, a digital ID project based on biometrics, namely eyeball scanning. Excuse me. Co-founded by OpenAI CEO Sam Altman. Oh yeah, that guy was great. Is eyeing, no pun, partnerships, not only with OpenAI. Didn't that guy just go to jail? Anyway, OpenAI, but also PayPal, reports say. However, and remember, I think PayPal used to be Elon Musk, and I think that George Soros plays a big part in that, which I don't like using it, but it's the only one that connects to your bank, and they do these things on purpose because they know that they'll catch a dollar here and there from you. However, these movements are not accompanied by any clarity for now. An example of this being another WorldCoin co-founder is CEO Alex Blania refusing to make a direct announcement regarding the deal with OpenAI. Blania at the same time confirmed that the company, specifically Tools for Humanity, the main WorldCoin developer, is talking to PayPal. But the payments transactions giant is currently not commenting on any of this because, well, most of it's hidden and they don't want regular people to realize what's about to happen when all of it becomes the same digital currency and you can't do nothing about it. And you can call it the mark of the beast or whatever you want to do, even though, you know, that might be a self-fulfilling prophecy, the mark of the beast, in the form of logos and other things like that. Or maybe it is literally some kind of futuristic injection that puts nanotech in your body, and then, you know, you're marked with the beast. And now that's the only way you can buy or sell, is because you were a good boy or a good girl and you went and got your injection of the nanotech so that you could buy and sell. I don't know. That's a future movie, maybe, or maybe it's the plan for what's going on. Either way, biblically, I always thought that people had kind of got that wrong because, well, the mark of the beast on your forehead and on your hand implies that those people are thinking about evil in their mind. And on their hand is the thing that they do things with. Your hand is your appendage. Your hand is what you do your works with. So if you have the mark of the beast on your hand, then you are doing evil works. And I'm not talking about any, you know, I'm not saying, a Christian reference. I'm just saying the basic idea there, to me, is pretty simple. If you have a good mark on your forehead and a good mark on your hand, then, well, you're thinking of good things and your hands are doing good works. So it kind of relates to that saying about idle hands are the devil's work, because when you're not working or producing or doing good things, well, your hands are bored, you know, and bored hands might smoke the crack pipe or something. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm just saying. Anyway, on to the next article. Beef recall as dire warning issued. Oh no, not the beef. Numerous beef products have been recalled over fears that they may be contaminated with the dreaded E. coli. The U.S. Food and Safety Inspection Service, FSIS, well, all of these lettered agencies, man. Haven't we learned better to have these? But anyway, has announced 6 ground beef products produced by Cargill Meat Solutions of Pennsylvania are being recalled by the FSIS after a previously segregated product was inadvertently used in a production of ground mince or burger patties. In all, 243 pounds. I had a blonde moment. 16,243 pounds of raw meat is believed to be affected. Where are those affected? Let's look, and then I'll say what I think this is really about. So New York, Ohio, Virginia. What else we got? North Carolina, Maryland, New Jersey, New York. What we got? Vermont, New Hampshire. I think that's it. West Virginia. Did I say that already? Virginia and North Carolina. I think I said all of them. But anyway, if you live in those states, I wouldn't eat beef from them Cargill people right now. You better get some of that organic grass-fed beef from out in the wherever it is and hope they didn't infect it with E. coli in the packaging. I think this is an attack on beef worldwide. We all know what's happening. You're bad if you eat the beef. The beef hurts the planet, blah, blah, blah. They put the prices so high, and they want you to buy this pretend meat, cloned meat, beyond belief meat, and all these other things. No, thank you. Maybe, since you don't want to get an E. coli, you're going to go over and get that stuff, and they're going to try to tell you that, don't worry about it. Our beef won't make you sick. Or will it? But straight up, would you eat a juicy cloned steak if that's all you had to eat? I mean, if it got on the grill and it smelled like beef and it watered your mouth like beef, would you eat it? You probably would, and that's how they get you. And you're not even going to know. You're going to be an old man or old woman in one of those geriatric prisons in the future, and they're going to be feeding it, and you're going to be like, this is beef, and they're going to be like, yeah, kind of. Anyway, near flawless quantum teleportation. And this is one of those articles. If you were paying attention and not a goldfish, it goes back to one of the previous articles and conversations in this program. Near flawless quantum teleportation demonstrated in groundbreaking experiment. Beam me up, Scotty. It's a study that seems straight out of Star Trek episode. An international team of researchers has achieved remarkable feat in the realm of quantum teleportation. They have successfully conducted near-perfect quantum teleportation despite the presence of noise that typically disrupts the transfer of quantum states. Quantum teleportation is a process in which the state of quantum particle, or a qubit, is transferred from one location to another without physically sending the particle itself. This transfer requires quantum resources, such as entanglement between an additional pair of qubits. And this might really blow your mind. I had this thought the other day that, there's this concept of when you get down and you look at these qubits, sometimes they're not there. I mean, they're there, but they're only more likely to be there than not to be there. So sometimes they're somewhere else. And then when you grasp the idea of this quantum teleportation and quantum entanglement idea, what if, like the tables of a leg, started moving? Like, if you had a table and it only had one leg, and somehow you could rotate the leg to the positions of the other three legs on the table almost instantaneously or near instant with no lag, it would appear to the outside world, like me, you, and everyone else, that the leg of the table is one of four legs, and that around the table there are four legs, and that they're all there, but the truth is, they're not really there. They're just more likely to be there than not to be there because they're traveling so fast, which means that the entire universe, to me, this is my idea, my thought, the entire universe may be only one particle altogether. Maybe it's only one particle that's quantum entangled with everything in existence, and therefore it moves and it is everywhere when it needs to be what it is when it's there. Meaning that maybe that particle is God. Maybe that particle is consciousness, and that particle is what makes up the entire universe that you experience now. Meaning that you and your consciousness are nothing but just parts of arrangements of a single particle that seems to be moving everywhere all at once. It's just one particle, not millions, not billions, not trillions, not quintillions, not whatever big a number you can come up with, but only one, instantly traveling, instantly entangled with everything else that there is. Just a thought, but anyway, let's get back to this thing. Quantum teleportation is that process I just told you about, by moving things without actually sending them or moving them anywhere, which would allow, the instant transfer of information, right? Which would make you think that they could build a machine, and then that machine could continue to get better and get upgrades throughout time until at some point it could send a message back to the original particle in which it started doing tests on in the first place. In other words, what I'm saying is at some point in the future, if you built the machine in the past, you could send information. And if information is matter, then indeed you could teleport mass. That means that if all matter is information and information is matter, energy, all the same thing, if you can transfer energy, then you can transfer information. And if you can transfer information, you can transfer matter, because they are all the same thing. Anyway, Imagine you have a secret message written on a piece of paper. You want to send this message to someone far away without anyone else seeing it. In quantum teleportation, instead of physically sending the paper, you would make an exact copy of the message at the other location, while the original message gets destroyed. This requires some special resources like quantum entanglement, which is like mysterious connections between two qubits. Now, this is the thing that really fries your noodle, and I'm sure if you're a Star Trek fan, you've thought about it in the past, is if you could take your mass and matter, a particular pattern of existence, a pattern of matter, a pattern of energy, a pattern of information, and you could take that and then copy it and then send it somewhere else where it was created there as an identical copy, that thing would be you when it got there. And if you didn't actually go there, there would be two of you. So in Star Trek, the idea is well, they destroy the matter and then they send the matter as information, and then at the other end, the information becomes matter again, and the computer is so complicated and sophisticated that it knows where to put every little single piece of matter back into its original position, making an exact duplicate of the original. However, if you believe you have a soul, what happens to the soul when your original body is destroyed? Do you cease to exist and then begin to exist again? Do you lose your soul? Is your soul recreated? Is your soul something that can only exist if a certain pattern exists to house it? I don't know. What a lot of questions out there. Anyway, in an ideal scenario, the teleportation of the qubit state can be done flawlessly. However, in the real world, there's always noise and disturbances. Just like how interferences can disrupt a phone call or a radio signal, the noise can be significantly reduce the quality of the teleportation process. In other words, you're going to get rocky road on the other end when you started out as an Einstein or whatever. So I think you know what I'm getting at there. You're going to start out at whatever you are, but on the other side is going to be a less than optimal copy of the information sent via teleportation. In a new study published by the journal Science Advances, scientists from the University of Turku in Finland and the University of Science and Technology of China developed a new quantum teleportation method that overcomes this noise and achieves a high rate of success. The key to their success is the use of multipartite hybrid entanglement, which is like entangling the qubits with their local environments in a controlled way. The work is based on an idea of disturbing entanglement prior to running the teleportation protocol beyond the used qubits, i.e. exploiting the hybrid entanglement between different physical degrees of freedom, says study author Yiki Pielo, a professor from the University of Turku, in a media release. Think of it like this. Imagine you have a secret message written on a piece of paper. They already said that and I'm reading it again. Blech. Weird. Anyway, I hate when articles repeat themselves, so let's move on. So, is teleportation possible? I don't know. Maybe it's just showed up just in time for the Great Reset, like I said earlier, and you're not going to get to use these new fancy technologies like anti-gravitics, mind reading, or telepathic aids to help one person talk to another person. Those are all nice ideas, but I think it's going to be a more dark version of it where only the military-industrial complex and the elite get to use these free, endless energy sources and teleportation devices, but they're soulless anyway, so I guess they don't have to debate whether or not their soul is transmitted with the copy or not. Anyway, let's move on to this article from Study Finds. Apocalypse goes mainstream. The end of the world is becoming normal conversation. All right. It's always the conversation because the world's always ending as it's being rebirthed. And no matter what you think, civilization might leave, but the Earth will be fine. It's going to be here. They could blow off all the nukes. The Earth's still going to be here. It's still going to rebound, and something will be here. But it ain't going to be us. That's the problem. Are we going to make it to the next reset? Or, are we going to be replaced by another species, whether through natural selection or intervention? The exponential growth of artificial intelligence over the past year has sparked discussions about whether the era of human dominance of our planet is drawing to a close. The most dire predictions claim that the machines will take over within 10 years, 5 to 10 years. Fears of AI are not only things driving public concern about the end of the world. Climate change and pandemic disease are also well-known threats. Reporting on these challenges and dubbing them the potential apocalypse has become the common in the media. So common, in fact, that you might go unnoticed or may simply be written off as hyperbole. Is the use of the word apocalypse in media significant? Our common interest is how the American public understands apocalyptic threats brought us together to answer this question. One of us is a scholar of the apocalypse in the ancient world. The other studies press coverage of contemporary concerns. By tracing what events in the media describe as apocalyptic, we can gain insight into our changing fears about potential catastrophes. We have found that the discussions of apocalypse unite the ancient humans and modern, the religious and secular, and the revelatory and the rational. They show how term with roots in classical Greece and early Christianity helps us articulate our deepest anxieties today. What is an apocalypse? Humans have been fascinated by the demise of the world since ancient times. However, the word apocalypse was not intended to convey this preoccupation. In Greek, the verb apokalyptein originally meant simply to uncover or to reveal. That's right. So when you're reading the Bible and they're talking about the apocalypse, it's about a revelation. It's about an unocculting, a reveal, an uncovering. So that, however you want to take that, the evil, the good, the understanding, it's uncovered. Anyway, in this dialogue, Protagoras, Plato used the term to describe how a doctor may a patient to uncover his body for an exam. It's an apocalypse. He also used it metaphorically when he asked the interlocutor to reveal his thoughts. He should have had some of that new technology that reads the minds. That impressed him. Anyway, the New Testament authors use this noun apocalyptis to refer to revelation, which, think about the word revelation too. It's a revelation. It's an idea that you understand now. It's a revelation, a eureka moment of God's divine plan for the world. The original Koine Greek version, apocalypse, is the first word of the book of Revelation, which describes not only the impending arrival of a painful inferno for sinners, which, by the way, is not even in the Bible. It's the beast, the false prophet, and the serpent that get thrown into the lake of fire. It nowhere ever says that people are thrown into the lake of fire. It says that you're judged and you could go into the second death, which I assume means not existing anymore, or be resurrected. And, I'm not a Christian, but I did read the book a bunch of times. I don't know. I'm just saying. But it also a second coming of Christ that will bring eternal salvation for the faithful. Many American Christians today feel that the day of God's judgment is just around the corner. In a December 2022 Pew-reviewed Center survey, 39% of those polled believe that they were living in end times, while 10% said that Jesus will definitely or probably return in their lifetime. Yet for some believers, the Christian apocalypse is not viewed entirely negatively. Rather, it is a moment that will elevate the righteous and cleanse the world of sinners. Secular understandings of the word, by contrast, rarely include this redeeming element. An apocalypse is more commonly understood as a cataclysmic, catastrophic event that will irreparably alter the world for the worst. It's something to avoid, not something to await. We fear most decade by decade. Political communications scholar Christopher whatever his name is, demonstrate in their research that the media are likely to reflect public opinion on more than they direct it or alter it. While their study focused largely on American views of important policy decisions, their findings, they argue, apply beyond those domains. In other words, it's part of that AI brainwashing I was telling you about. No, maybe not, but it is a form of brainwashing. But in real life, apocalypse or not, some weird stuff's going on. Those buses they told you weren't even coming into the United States? Remember how they told you there was no caravans coming at all? Well, for some reason, a bunch of buses got abandoned by whoever was driving them, and lots of migrants had to be rescued from coach buses in Mexico. Authorities say that they rescued more than 400 illegal migrants, their words, not mine, and those are the Mexican authorities, by the way, those racists. Gosh. Including dozens of unaccompanied minors from three coach buses abandoned on the highway in Mexico this week. The incident unfolded on Thursday in the state of Veracruz, which lies on the Gulf Coast. These tour buses were full of, let me back that up. 3 tour buses full of people were found on the side of the Mintilahan-Acuacan highway. Probably not how you say that. In total, 407 U.S.-bound migrants without permission to be in Mexico. That's right, Mexico called them illegal aliens. Well, illegal immigrants. Were traveling in unhealthy conditions on overloaded buses. The National Migration Institute, INM, explained in their press release. They identified people come from 7 countries in the Caribbean, Central and South America. 91 were traveling in family groups. 30 women, 15 men, and 46 children under the age of 18. 52 girls, boys, and adolescents were found without the company of adults. The migrants were taken into custody by various agencies, but it's unclear if they will be removed from the country. The rescue came just after 85 illegal immigrants were pulled out of a tractor trailer in nearby Tabasco State, and that's their term, not mine. They are migrants, and they are illegals, but I don't think you can call them illegal migrants. I think they're undocumented criminals. I mean migrants. I mean workers. Everybody's the criminal, though. So I hope your crimes are undocumented. Unless they're bad ones, and then I hope they're documented and you burn in hell. But there ain't one. Oh well. The U.S. economy faces a quick death. Maybe it's burning in hell. No matter what the gaslighting is telling you, we all know. Face the quick death. I hope not. That'll be our apocalypse. Everything you need to know about lab-grown meat. Let's get into this because, they're saying there's bans on the meat. Oh, we just don't have time. Too bad. Lab-grown meat is back in headlines this week with Florida Governor Randover DeSantis signing it into bill that makes it illegal to sell or produce lab-grown meat in his state. 3 other states are mooting similar laws. So what's the big deal with the food of the future? Here's everything you need to know. That's out on InfoWars, but that's all we got time for now. And thank you for listening to Mountain High Time here on Revolution Radio, which is, like I said before, listener supported. That means supported by you. Anyway, thanks for joining us here on Mountain High Time, where we happen to be high in the mountains at this time. I mean, like elevation-wise. How about that? Let's look in the chat room and see what you guys think of all of these articles or sharticles, whatever you want to call them. These aren't the droids you're looking for. Thank you, Mr. Ransom. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Droids. Thank you, Captain Trips. These aren't the droids you're looking for. Says, interesting that Israel was pushing the lab-grown meat first. It's interesting that anybody would contemplate eating it. And is it still cannibalism if you're eating like human meat they've grown in a lab? I don't know. Have we already found that out? I think so. Flavor crystals, man. Anyway, I was late. You know it. What's up, James Foster? We go down the rabbit hole on this channel. Well, or it's just a bunch of ramblings from a stoner dude. Who knows, right? Anyway, it's 7:57. That's the end of my show here on Revolution Radio. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next Saturday. All right, now it's just you YouTubers we're talking to. So let's go back to the chat. What do you think about all this crazy stuff? Are you going to eat the lab meat? Are you going to eat the lab meat? I don't think I want to eat it, man. It's like, but what if we have to eat it? That is the question. I'm having some serious deja vu here. Did I do this show already? Was I already sitting here in this spot? I think I might have been. Anyway. 1 lab meat, 1 bugs. That sounds like a poop sandwich, man. It's like, when you drop your food on the ground or there's bugs in your food, you're not going to eat the food, right? That was always gross thing. Ooh, the food's rotten. The bugs are eating it. Now you want me to eat the bug? No. I don't want to eat lab-grown meat either. And I don't know what I'm going to do, when the companies just stop selling organic meat, where do we get our food from then? You have to be able to ranch. If you have no land, you can't ranch. And who says your government's going to let you ranch? Maybe they're going to mandate you put a little M's and R's and some other letters all up in intravenously your meat, because they're doing that to the chicken and the milk already. I don't know. I don't want to say too much. You know what I'm talking about. Look it up. Anyway, that's all I got time for today. I'll see you next Thursday and next Saturday. And peace out, dudes. And I appreciate all of the contributors. All 5 of you guys, I appreciate you showing up. Anyway, that's it. Where is the button for getting out of this broadcast is the question. I don't see it. I don't know what's going on.
She was living in a single room with 3 other individuals. One of them was a male, and the other 2, well, the other 2 were females. God only knows what they were up to in there. And furthermore, Susan, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised to learn that all 4 of them habitually smoke marijuana cigarettes. Marijuana cigarettes. Marijuana cigarettes.
You guys are still here? Are you watching me? That's weird. I thought we were done here. You guys are still watching. That's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. I'm just saying, for those of you that stayed later, what are you watching me? I mean, like, are you guys voyeurs or like, what's going on?
That's very dirty.
Anyway, though, for real, we gotta go.